Hey YouTubers, this is the reunion review of the Real Housewives of Durban Season 2 reunion. So the show opens up with the ladies getting all glammed up. The hair done, makeup done, looking on point. And of course, they said they don't know what to expect. Anything can happen on this reunion special, this reunion show. So, of course, there's a lot of pre show jitters because they don't know what's going to come out of each other's mouth. Some of the ladies, of course, are not on speaking terms outside of the show. They're really not friends. So, after the ladies were done putting on their makeup, looking fabulous, of course, with their outfits, they were strutting their stuff down the hallway to enter the room where they were going to hold this event of the reunion. Tabele was the first to enter, looking like a goddess with her cape dress. Next person to make their appearance was Annie, and she was looking fabulous, young, with this pink dress, kind of futuristic top, and of course, she had the flyaway, the trail, and it was just gorgeous. But before I continue, for the host, the outfit is given, okay? It's given, all right? I like it. You look fly, you look fresh, you look handsome. Next to walk in, strutting her stuff, was Nanku, looking like a queen, an African queen, confident in her gold outfit, loved it. The next person to arrive and walked into the room was Srirachi. And of course, when you're talking about style, glamour, confidence, you're talking about Srirachi. And she looked beautiful in this grayish outfit. It was not a gown, it was short, but it looked lovely on her. The next to enter was Lokonko. And when you feel good and you're looking good and you feel fabulous, well, that's how I thought she felt. She was just strutting her stuff, swinging that cape, looked fabulous in her cape dress, gold, no less, looking like a goddess. The next person to arrive was JoJo. She had a beautiful gray, like a pastel blue, bluish gray. I think it was mostly blue in it, a gown, and it looked gorgeous on her because she had the tattoos going on. It kind of reminded me of that medieval kind of feel. It gave me that medieval feel. So it was perfect for her, match her tattoos. Unfortunately, I did not see the entrance of Londi. I wanted to see her full dress, how she looked walking in, but I didn't see that. However, she looked gorgeous in her green dress, all blinged out. So, the Real Housewives of Durban, Part 1 show opened up with the host, Donovan Goliath, looking fabulous, about to introduce the ladies and get into the meat of the story. So, he started off with himself, and he wanted to set the mood for laughter and a lighter, for the just making the ladies feel at ease and not so uptight. So he started with himself and he said, is this outfit given? Meaning, is it fly? Does it become me? Is it all that I wanted it to be? And yes, Mr. Goliath, it is all. It's given. So he started off the questioning with Annie. And I have to say, YouTubers, Annie looks so different. I barely recognized her because she's around Shirachi all the time. She caters a lot of her events with the flowers, etc. And the first time she did the catering, when she walked into her space, Shirachi's space, she saw Bentley, she saw, Mercedes is like every day now, right? But she had a Bentley, she had the Porsche, she has, all high-end cars in her driveway. So he said to her, how are you, sister? And she said, I'm still here, because let's face it, she had a lot of drama with some of the ladies this past season. And so when she said she's still hanging in there, it was an understatement. And so Donovan asked her, how are you, sister? And she said, I'm still here. I'm hanging in here, in other words. So the next question was for Nonku, and he asked her, what was she looking forward to for the evening, for the night, for, just all the questioning and the lady's response. What was she looking forward to, or what did she expect? Nonku was very diplomatic in her answer. She said she don't know what to expect, but you know what? I'm paraphrasing, she's leaving it up to God. So he said to her, you've answered nothing with that answer. And really, what can she say? She don't know what's going to come out of these ladies' mouths. She don't know if they're going to talk negative about her or positive. So she's got to be reserved in her answering initially. So the next person he turns to is Lukonko. So he just made a comment to her that they were lucky to have her there on the stage because she was tied up elsewhere doing, more important things. So he jokingly said, we had to fly you all the way from Turkey. But in any event, she showed up. That's the most important thing. So since he was on this questioning about how people got there, he turned to Sorochi and he said, how did you get here? And she said, I flew, and he said, by private jet. She jokingly said, I flew commercial with good accommodations, but we all know she is a multi-millionaire, she and her husband. And I'm sure she had a private jet and she flew solo. I'm sure of it. So she is one of the people on the stage who I think has money. What I like about her is she's humble and she's very accommodating. She knows the other women don't have as much money as she does. However, she treats them, I think, with a kindness and respect, which is very humbling. So, needless to say, I do admire Surachi. And of course, the ladies found it to be funny because they know that she took a private jet, okay? She would not get on no commercial flight, not with having over $1 billion. Or let's be conservative, she's a millionaire, if not a billionaire. So the next person he addressed was Tobile, and because she's new to the show, and he said trouble just walked in because from the time she came onto the show, she's had beef and conflict. And so she said to him, she's okay. So he's kind of addressing the three new cast members. And the next person he went to was JoJo. And JoJo said, he wanted to know how she felt about the evening. And she said she was a bunch of nerves. All these ladies, they dress to the max. They always are on point. So she has to up her game. Pretty much that's what she said. So next he turned to Lottie and he said, any news that you would like to tell the ladies? And she said, well, the girl has been baking. She stood up. We saw her abdomen. She looked like if she was 6 months, even 5. But she said, no, I'm about to deliver any day now. I just have a couple of weeks left. She really carries small, I must say. One of my younger sisters carried that small. When she was at the end of her pregnancy, it looked like if she was only 5 or 6 months. So now we understand why she did not walk in with like the other ladies, when they walked in and strut their stuff to walk into the room. We did not see her walking into the room because she had this big reveal to tell the audience and she didn't want to announce it before the official airing of the show. But you know what, YouTubers, I did notice that not one of them said, I knew, she told me. That's to show that these women are not really friends. Some of them are not friends outside of the show because Londi is almost about to give birth and nobody knew. I'm sure a few people probably thought that, oh, this is the beginning of her pregnancy. But she said, no, I'm about to give birth. During all the trips, I was pregnant. So they were quite surprised. And of course, everyone is congratulating her, and she is glowing. You can tell she is expecting because they say all mothers glow when they're expecting. So he started to show a clip from the past show of Annie having problems with several of the ladies. One of them was Nonku, and the other one was Lon Coco. So Annie and Nonku sat in a restaurant and they were talking it over. This is the Pat talking it over about their differences, trying to iron it out, and Nonku apologized, and Annie said. Annie said, I don't know what to make of it. I don't know if it was a smoking screen for us not to talk about our problems. Because when you tell someone you like them and then in another breath you're cussing them out, people are thrown off. They don't know if you are honest and it's coming from the heart when you do apologize. So I can understand where Annie was coming from in that meeting. And with Lon Coco, she pretty much, I guess they toasted to new beginnings after talking out their problems. Because really, what's the point of holding grudges? If you can't forgive people when they apologize, then it makes no sense to even meet up with them and hear them out in order for you to iron out your differences. It makes no sense. You have to be able to forgive. So the next clip we see all the ladies, the new cast members being introduced to the old cast members. They are nice and hugging and all the nice compliments. And I'm saying to myself, what happened? They started out so good. But it's clear the boundary lines have been drawn, and these ladies have formed their own little cliques. They like certain people they don't like. They're going to throw you under the bus if you're not in their circle. So Nonku said she just wanted them to be on a good note, start on a good foot and settle old scores or old differences, iron out, talk out all their problems and issues so they can move forward. And of course, it was the first time for some of the ladies meeting the new cast member, Londi. So he asked Sharisha if they plan for everyone to be nice to each other. With the new ladies coming into the group, you would think that new friendships would be formed. The ladies would let bygones be bygones because they talked out their problems and then they would start on a new leaf of just getting along. But Shirisha said, no, it did not work because they may have buried the hatchet with some things, but other things reopened a new Pandora's box. And so all the bickering and the backbiting and the beefing started all over again. Only this time they had new company to join them in the madness. Shirushi said it fell apart. They forgot what they promised in episode 1. And so it was back to the old nastiness, the old backbiting. But she's such a lady that, of course, she put it diplomatically. So he asked Jojo next what it's like being in a room with these ladies. And she said, well, it's a lot of pressure. Everything is so over the top that she even had to go buy herself a new outfit because she felt as though she's got to rise to the challenge. Let's face it, YouTubers, these ladies are about style and glamour and the glitz and the over the top. And when you have the money to do it, honey, you can buy anything. And so the next question to Jojo was, it was the bag real? And she said, yes, it was real. I even took pictures. I sent pictures. Yes. And Nkonko said, yeah, she was pointing with the black card, meaning she had the money. Okay. So he decided to roll back a clip about Tobele when she joined the group, the sit down dinner, and some of the ladies were commenting. They, but clearly you could have seen some of the ladies did not like her right off the bat. So Donovan, the host, decided to roll back a tape about Lonkonko and Tobele. And Lonkonko said that she and Tobele are not social media friends. She doesn't have her number, and she does not have any of her contacts, her, so-called contacts, media contacts detail. So she said, why should I call her? Or why should she or would she call her? So the next question Donovan asked Nonkoko is if she's inheriting a beef from her sister wife. So she said, absolutely not. And you have to wonder, when people are beefing and you step in and you give your opinion, you have to be very careful of the opinion you're giving, because it comes off as if you have taken over the beef, the battle. Although some people believe in you pick on one family member, then you pick on all of us, one for all theory. You pick on one, you pick on all. So Nankonko decided to, I guess, explain her side of the story, why it appears as though she was beefing with Tobele and she was not. And so it, to me, it was not a really transparent explanation, to say that this beef has ended. She mentioned something about messing with her camera, and it was just so vague that Donovan just went on to Tobele for an explanation as to why the beef between the two of them. And in the confessional, Lokonko did say that she don't have Tobele's number. They're not friends on Instagram or social media, and she doesn't have any number of any of her contacts, her friends. So in other words, they're not friends. So Tobele said, sometimes people show who they are. They don't have to inherit anything or fight anybody else's beef. They just show their dark side. And Tobele believes that Lokonko was just showing who she is. She don't like her for whatever reason, and it's not because she's fighting anybody else's battle or is on anybody else's team. She just showed that side of her that she personally don't like her. So Tobele said to Donovan that Lonkonko is believing her own lies, because she's saying she didn't put in a phone call to her, but she did call her. So she said she's pretty much delusional. So Tobele said she's been nasty towards her. She has been mean. She's she's in denial. That's pretty much what she's saying. She's in denial that she's been mean and nasty, and now she's fabricating all these stories to cover the fact that she does not like her. And she's making it seem as though Tobele is the one who is in the wrong, when that's not the case. So Tobele said, because she's been so mean and nasty towards her, when she finally offered her a hand, she was taken back, because she looked at her like a devil in disguise. Because really, YouTubers, when somebody is mean to you and all of a sudden they're reaching out their hand, trying to give you an olive branch, you got to look at them with side eye, because you don't know if that olive branch has a different meaning. Maybe they're trying to set you up for something. Maybe it's not what you think. So you really have to look at it with a magnifying lens and be very careful how you deal with that person. So Tabali said she's not being mean when she say that Lonkonko is like a devil woman because she's been so mean to her, and then when she finally meets her, she puts her hand out like if she's a friend, and she said, it's like a mixed message. And what Lonkonko does not realize is that she has been seeing and hearing everything that she's been saying about her. So it's hard for her to now open up because she has met this person. She's new. She's the newest castmate, and not take offense as to the things that she has said about her in the past. So now it's Nanku's turn to talk, and she's agreeing with what Tabali said. And she said Lonkonko has done the same thing to her. She has talked bad behind her back, and it came right back to her, and she knows exactly what she said. And when she sees her, she's like, "Hi, sweetie. Hi, honey." And she wants to kiss and hug and say, "I love you," and all of that, like a two-face, like backbiting. So she has had the same experience with Lonkonko, and this is why the ladies are saying that she's two-faced. She talks bad behind your back. She's ready to throw you under the bus, and when she sees you, she's not woman enough to tell you how she feels in front of your face. Instead, she wants to shake and hug and be nice. So Nonko is telling her, really, how the sentiment of the group is. She hasn't opened up to the group, and they really feel that she's not honest with them in terms of her feelings. So they're feeling as though she's not as open as some of the other ladies. So Lon Coco jumps right in and she says, "You know what? Tabali's called me like a devil, but this is how I am, and you may not understand me, but this is who I am. I may have a disagreement with you, but it does not mean when I see you, I'm not going to hug you and greet you properly." And a lot of people are like that, YouTubers. They may talk bad behind your back, but when they see you, they are going to greet you because it's a proper thing to do. And maybe they don't want to tell you exactly how they feel. Some people, they hold things in, but they can tell someone else about you and how they feel about you. But when they see you, it's hard for them to express that emotion. So maybe that's what Lonkonko, maybe that's what she is about. Maybe that's what her whole character is like. That she can talk behind your back, but when she sees you, she greets you, and it's hard for her to maybe tell you exactly how she feels. Maybe that's who she is. So Tabali went on to say, "That's the one thing I don't like about you, the way you treat people. You're disrespectful." She said, you know you don't like me. Don't pretend. I know that you don't like me. So you don't have to pretend that you do. And let me tell you, you could hear a pin drop. And Lonkonko couldn't do anything but put her head down because she knows she was telling the truth. YouTubers, Tabali wasn't holding back. She said, "I'm just glad at the end of the day, you show your true colors." So, needless to say, I don't think these two are going to be friends for a long time to come. Hell has to freeze over for these two to be friends, I think. But then you never know. This is, after all, reality TV, where the drama never stops and the tea gets hotter. So Nonkonku responded to Tabali and she said, "So the attitude and personality is not the same? Meaning your attitude and your personality, if you're accusing me of being nasty and I'm not welcoming and want to embrace you as a friend, I can accuse you of the same thing because your personality and attitude sucks also." I'm paraphrasing YouTubers, but that's essentially what she was saying to Bali. So this little exchange these two ladies had on stage, did not solve the issue of why they are not cordial to each other, why they're not speaking, why they are not friends on the show. If anything, it drove them further apart. So next up, it's Londi and Lankoko. And Donovan wanted to talk a little bit about these two and their friendship and why it broke up, because the viewers love their friendship. And so he reeled back the tape as to how their friendship was. And then he wanted them to explain what happened. So when Londi met Lonkoko, and they did form a bond, a friendship, and she felt as though they understood each other. And she was looking forward to fast becoming friends with Lonkoko. So as the friendship progressed, we saw it in the clip of one of the shows. Londi told Lonkoko that she was confused, that she's telling her one thing and telling the group another thing. So, that kind of took her off guard. She did not know what to make of the friendship at that point. And I think we can all identify with how Londi was feeling. Because you come into a group, you're the new person in the group, you form a bond and a friendship with someone else in that existing group, and then that person turns on you and says bad things behind your back and is nice in front of your face. And I think a lot of people have gone through that. And it's a very hurtful feeling. It's a sense of, it really is like a betrayal, that you trusted this individual with your feelings and then they backstab you. So in the confessional, Lonnie said there's no friendship. I mean, I can't be around someone like that. I can't have that person in my life as a friend who is going to backbite me and talk bad behind my back and in front of my face, pretending to be my friend. And we all can understand that. So Donovan said to Londi, you're going to go first in answering this question. What was the straw that broke the camel's back? And then he's going to ask Nonkonku the same question. So Londi said for her, it was the fact that if you're going to have a friendship with someone, there are some basic questions that you should know. Right off the bat, is your friend married, dating, single, what they like, what they don't like, first name, last name. Just be truthful. That's all she was saying. And in this friendship with Longkonko, she was saying that she didn't know a lot of things about her. And when she asked questions, she would be so vague that she can honestly say she didn't know her, although they were supposed to be friends. And I agree, if you're going to be a friend to someone or with someone, you should know some of the basic truths about that person, where they live. Are they married? First name, last name. Hell, even middle name. Do they have children? Are they working? Those are basic questions. And if they can't answer those questions, then they're hiding. They're hiding from you knowing about them. So how can you how can you call that person a friend? They're just an acquaintance. They're not a friend. So it was Lonkonko's turn, and she said the friendship feels the same to her as if they had just met. The first time they met, the way she felt about Londi, she feels the same today. And Londi interjected and she said, wait a minute, you said there was no friendship. You say that you're tired of the long phone calls and going through my Instagram page. So then Nkoko jumped right back in and she said, listen, my platform is different from yours. You get with people and you talk about me, and these people don't know me, but you have formed an opinion about me based on what they told you. So Lolly said to Lonkoko, I'm supposed to be your friend. And if the ladies are asking questions about you, questions that I should know as a friend, I cannot answer those questions. That means that I'm not really a friend. Because if I was your friend, then I would be able to answer the basic questions. So Londi said, friendship requires honesty. And how true that is. That's putting it in a nutshell. Friendship requires honesty. So next up to discuss their friendship is Storisha and Annie. The close friendship that they have forged on this show since season 1. But before we get to their friendship, he shows a clip of Annie talking to Nanku, and she said she was worried about her. Obviously, they're not friends, but she still was worried. And then Nanku said, okay, you don't like me. Okay. We're not friends. Okay. FYI, YouTubers, if you're concerned about someone and you're talking to the person about your concerns, that you're worried about them, you do not put it in the conversation that you're not friends. You don't like them. Okay, you leave that out just for this particular conversation. So it can really show that you're concerned and you're worried about the person. So when Nanku said, okay, you don't like me, Annie said it's tricky. So on the show, Donovan said, what do you mean when you said it was tricky with Nanku? And Annie said that with Nanku, it's been ups and downs. It's been a journey. So Annie went on to say after season 1, after what happened, she couldn't connect with her anymore. She couldn't open up. She couldn't forge and form a friendship. But then she learned to open up a little bit. And they became cordial. Not true friends, but cordial on the show just to mingle. And she said even with when they have interviews and Nanku would say, Annie, I love you. And Annie said she respects Nanku. No, YouTuber, she didn't say she loves her. She didn't say, I love you also. You know, when Nanku would say, Annie, I love you, what's the response for most people? Oh, I love you too, girl. Oh, I love you back. I love you more. That would be the normal response for most people. But Annie specifically said, Nanku would say, I love you, Annie, and I would say I respect Nanku. So there's no love here when it comes to Annie and Nanku. It's one-sided, okay? So Annie went on to say she respects Nanku because she owns herself. She is non-apologetic for anything that she does. We all know, we've seen her on the show, she's wild and crazy. She's always getting drunk and she has no inhibitions. She let it all out. She owns who she is. And so Annie respects that. But of course, she's not about to form a friendship with her, a true friendship, and she's not going to let her in to become a friend of hers, a true friend, like she did with Saruchi. So Nanku is still throwing that olive branch out to Annie. She said deep down inside, she feels as though Annie is kind of fragile and she just feels as though she puts up this tough exterior because she has to protect herself. And what was funny, she said, deep down inside, I think she loves me. And of course, I find that to be funny. And of course, the ladies on the stage laughed about it because, trust and believe, Annie is not about to show this woman love, okay? Because she remembers season 1. And that is still in her craw, still in her gut, still in her mind. She's not going to give her another opportunity to hurt her. So when Nanku said She loves me. Annie, deep down in her soul, she loves me. Annie just busted out laughing. I mean, what can you say about that? Annie does not like, well, she doesn't love this woman. I don't even believe she likes her, let alone love her. So, but Nanku had to finally say that it's a love-hate relationship. Now, Annie can agree to that. It's a love-hate relationship. Nanku loves her and Annie hates her. Okay? So let's let's just cap that off at that point. Love-hate relationship. So at this point, Sarochi jumped in and she said, I just want to tell a little story about Annie. When I first met her on season one, I didn't think we were going to be friends at all. No, Shirachi is kind of conservative and sophisticated, and Annie is like a wild child. She's more free spirited, so I can understand why she said what she said. But she wanted to tell this story, and she said that Annie was bullied a lot when she went to school in London when she was younger. And Annie confided in her and she told her that story. So she said she don't think she's going to be friends with her after she tells this story. But it was an innocent story. And it's not something that you would fall out of friendship with a person for. The only thing that you would fall out of friendship for is confidentiality. Maybe she didn't want the world to know that she was bullied, but I don't see any harm done in her telling the story. As a matter of fact, by her telling the story, maybe more people, more young people can come out and talk about how they are being bullied. I think it can only help a younger generation to come out and speak about bullying because we're living in a society where there's bullying on the internet now, and a lot of young kids are prone to suicidal thoughts and tendencies and actually do commit suicide because of bullying. So I think whether Annie wanted to be told or not, it's an important story to tell. I can't help but wonder, YouTubers, if Shirachi has forged a friendship in Annie with Annie because of this story that she told her about when she was young. She was bullied so badly, and maybe Shirachi felt kind of sorry for her and just look at her as, she could have had a daughter that age because she's older than Annie and she's old enough to be her mother. And so I think this friendship that she has with Annie is of a protective nature, like a mother would protect her daughter. I think I'm getting that vibe, that feel to Annie and Chiruchi's relationship. What do you guys think? Drop it in the comments section. Let me know what you think. Even when it comes to her floral business, and when Annie does the floral arrangements for her, she makes it a point to use Annie. And she says, oh, Annie is the best, and all the accolades with, her floral arrangements. Of course, I think her floral arrangements are the bomb also. They are beautiful, but there are other people who can do just as nice a job. But she only, it appears right now for the show's purposes, she uses Annie. And I think she does that to throw money her way because let's face it, Sarochi has a lot of money between she and her husband. They're probably billionaires. So Saruchi continued to talk about Annie, and it's okay for her to break that wall down now. She was saying, Annie, it's okay to just break the wall down because you're safe now. And you could have seen the sadness in Annie's face. I could also feel the pain because bullying is not easy when you're a young person. A lot of young people do commit suicide. So I felt her pain and I saw the hurt in her face. And so I can only imagine what she had to go through. And so I have to tell this story before I move on. My younger sister enrolled her three boys in this all-white school when they moved to Atlanta, Georgia. and the younger one was picked on because he was little, couldn't defend himself, could not really stand up to all this bullying and these white kids picking on him. The older two boys were taller and they can assert themselves more, but the younger one, who was about 10, 11 at a time, could not really man up and assert his self as a young black male. And so he was picked on, bullied, and every time my sister would tell me the nasty things these young white kids would do to him in school, I would tell her, pull him out of school. Um, just do not leave him in the same school. Change the environment, or do something else, anything, but to leave him there and to be bullied. So I'm telling this story to let the audience know, you guys in YouTube land, if your kids are being bullied, do not leave them in that environment. Take them out, change schools, take them to a private school where the bullying can be stopped or monitored or controlled. Because when a child is bullied, it doesn't just stop once the child grows older and goes into a higher form of learning. It stays with them for life. When you get old, you can tell the stories of how you were bullied, and you will see the sadness in the person's face, and they will tell you it hurts to this day that they feel as though they're still in that situation. It's like being raped. You never forget it. It's always with you. The same thing with bullying. So the next question by Donovan to Annie was that if she's aware how social media really feels about her. They call her mean on social media, that she says mean things. And she says, no, I'm not mean, I'm just honest. She said the first year it affected her, and she slowly worked through it with her husband's help as well as therapy. So apparently this really affected her. And it goes back to her bullying days when people bullied her when she was younger. I would imagine people calling her mean on the internet really took her back to those days where she feels she was being maybe bullied by these people when they call her names and call her mean and call her a bully. And I could not help thinking though that maybe it's reversed. Maybe because she was bullied as a young person, a child, when she was in school, maybe she puts up this defense now to make sure that will never happen again, and she's going to strike first. If she sees people coming at her, she's going to lash out, she's going to strike, and, like a preemptive strike. Before they can come at her, she's coming at them first. So it really comes off as though she's mean. But in essence, what she's doing is putting up her guard to make sure she doesn't ever get hurt again. So the next clip Donovan showed was when Nantu spoke about all men cheat at the dinner table. And of course, the husbands were shocked. And of course, the wives also, because you don't want to sit at a table and be in agreement with someone who says all men cheat. That means your husband is a cheater. So, of course, the women were up in arms. The men were shocked. And Nantu later on said she's unapologetic. She's not going to apologize for it. And she stands by her statement. But I feel it's very sad that she should think that way. That means her past experience was so devastating that she has lumped all men into this one group of cheaters. And not all men cheat. Some men are very, very loyal to their wives, their girlfriends, their significant other. You cannot say all, absolute, because there's always that one person to prove you wrong. And I know of many men, including my brothers, many men in my circle, friends, my brothers, and a lot of them are not cheaters. So, from my personal experience, I know for a fact, for sure, that not all men cheat. So, we are praying for Nantu that she finds that special someone that does not cheat on her, for her to experience what it is to have a man that truly loves her. Another shocking thing that Nantu said during the season is white men buy, black men cheat. And so Donovan wanted to address that. And Nantu said, listen, I've never dated a white man, so I don't have the experience, personal experience, but observation, I see that white men like to buy, and I think she was referring to prostitutes or buying someone to be their mistress or buying sex in whatever form you do it in. It's still buying a woman. Whether you pay your wife to have sex with her, or maybe you marry someone because you have a lot of money and the woman knows you have a lot of money, that's why she married you. That's still buying. So she said by observation, she has noticed that white men buy and black men cheat. And I think it's a really common perception that a lot of people think that black men love to have a lot of women. They can't just stick with one woman, one wife, one girlfriend. They're just like a rolling stone. They gather no moss. They just love a lot of women all the time. They're not monogamous. I'm here in the US, and women here say the same thing about black men. So, YouTubers, drop it in the comment section. What do you think about that statement? That white men buy and black men cheat? I'd love to know your comments. So the ladies had mixed comments about that statement. Condi said it was the first time she's heard it, and Annie was agreeing with her. Lonkonko said you can't just say white men, you have to say all men. And of course, Saruchi was in agreement. She said you can't say all men, you have to say some men. Some men are loyal. And the other ladies chimed in and they agreed that all men is really an overstatement. But Nantu said she's sticking to her statement based on what she has observed and also experienced. And so Donovan asked Jojo, how did she feel at the black tie affair when that statement was made? That black men cheat and white men buy. And she said she tapped her husband and said, you better not say anything, because that was loaded. If he had tried to defend it, I mean, he would be in social media, he would go viral. So she didn't want him to get involved in all that, reality show mix up. So she told him, she said, do not say a word. Solon Coco said, but he was quiet. And Jojo said, yes, he was quiet because I told him to shut up. Well, I didn't exactly told him to shut up. I just said, be quiet. Because let's face it, if he had said one thing, he would have went viral on social media. Now we know, YouTubers, why Jojo's husband did not chime in and said anything, because he was given the do not say a word orders. And Nantu wanted to clean it up, and she said, Calvin does not buy though. And everyone started to laugh. They said, how do you know? She just wanted to clean it up a bit to exempt Jojo's husband. But it was too late, because she already put out a statement that white men buy. She didn't say white men buy except for Jojo's husband. She said white men buy. And last but not least, Mabusi appears on the set. She is in the building. She's on the stage. She's with the ladies, ready to answer some of the tough questions. So After introducing Mabusi, Donovan decided to roll a clip of how she was trying to get into the group and the WhatsApp group, whether by maybe misunderstanding or maybe she was being forced not to join the group. Whatever it was, she was not a part of the group, and there was an explanation given as to why she was not invited in to be a part of the group. The question was, why does she need to be in the WhatsApp group? And the answer was because she is among the ladies all the time. She vacations with them. She, goes everywhere with them pretty much. So it would be courteous to include her in the group. And this is why I like Saruchi, because in this clip, Saruchi explained to the ladies because she vacations with them and she is a member of their circle. That's why she should be part of the WhatsApp group. So Saruchi said she didn't offer her to be part of the flight because she forgot she wasn't part of the group. If you're not in a WhatsApp group and she sends a group message out, then of course she's not going to get it because she's not part of the group. And that is why it was important to add her to the group. You can't be part of a show and you claim as though you want to get along with everyone and you're excluding people from the experience. You can't be selfish. And I think when it comes to Saruchi, I think Annie is a little guarded and a little possessive of the friendship she has with Saruchi. I think Mabusi wanted to be a member of the group just to belong, just to forge some friendships. But after 3 months of asking, she said she was asking for 3 months and she had not been added on. Then she said, you know what, I'm just going to move on with my life and call it a day with these people. If they don't want to add me in the group, it's okay. My life does not stop. So Annie said the real reason why Mabusi wasn't added to the group was when the group first started, it was for the people who were doing the OTS. And so since Mabusi wasn't part of that, she was excluded from the WhatsApp group. And so Donovan asked Mabusi if she was cool with the answer. And she said, at first I felt as though I was missing something. What she should have done was to properly explain to me. I'm talking about Annie. Annie should have properly explained to her why she was not included and why she, although she kept asking to be a part of the group, she was not a part of the group. So Annie dropped the ball with her explanation to Mabusi, or her lack of explanation. So Mabusi feels as though she and Lokongo has become Odade. They've become real sisters. They have a sisterhood. They have a bond. So Lokongo started to talk about the ladies judging Mabusi. And after, of course, Donovan asked her what she felt about the ladies and Mabusi and if she felt as though they were judgmental. And she said yes. Jojo in particular mentioned something about her bag and wealth. And so she felt as though when did this materialistic judgment of who has more money came into the picture when they're all trying to forge a friendship. Does your wealth determine if you're going to be friends with someone or not? But I have news for you, Lokonko. Some people do equate friendships with wealth. If you don't have enough money, you can't be their friend. So yes, for some people, it's a determining factor. whether or not they're going to be your friend. So Jojo said she didn't mean to be offensive when she asked the question with the money in the bag, but she apologized if she was offensive and she didn't know that it would be taken as such. And Mbusi said, "You didn't know? Because you didn't know, you should not have asked that question because you don't know me." And I said, "Oh my God, these two are not going to be friends." YouTubers. Although the show has put these ladies from different backgrounds, different walk of life, different ethnicity, they've thrown them all on this show. And they're expecting them to get along and play nice and be cordial and courteous. But don't forget, this is the real Housewives of Durban. This is South Africa, where the white and black issue is still a predominant conversation, if you will. There is still this underground apartheid going on. The black issue and the white issue is still very much alive and well, as it is in the United States with the KKK and the lynchings and the slavery, etc. In South Africa, there are still the issues with the Afrikaners and the blacks there. And so when you put white women on the stage with black women and you expect them to get along and play nice and be buddies, it's only going to work for a short period of time before all that racial tension starts seeping through the cracks. So Mabusi went on to explain to Jojo, break it down to her, that what she said was not nice and it was hurtful. She should not have said it because she does not know her. And the fact that she said it, she had to set her straight, in my opinion. She told her there's a person behind the bags and the brain. Okay? And I could not have put it in better words because oftentimes I hate to make this a black and white issue, but this particular instance is a black and white issue. A lot of whites still believe that black people can be talked down to and it's all right. No, it's not all right. We have to set them straight. Whoever makes inappropriate comments, we have to set the record straight and we have to straighten out that person every single time because it's a disrespect. We don't do it to other groups, but yet they feel they have a right to do it to us. So kudos to Mabusi for setting Jojo straight. Jojo did say she was sorry, but Mabusi made it very clear. Since I was the one who you offended, allow me to elaborate and express myself properly to you. And she said it's my prerogative to express myself, and I'm going to do so because she kept interrupting her and trying to talk over her and speak over her. And she asserted herself with Jojo. And Jojo, of course, relinquished. She pulled back and she said, okay. And they ended it there. But I can see these two are not going to be friends. So now it's time for Nantu to start talking. And she is mentioning the fact that Mabutsi wanted to be relevant. And she said every time it was on one of those outings they had. And she said every time she kept talking, Mabusi kept interrupting. And so she knows that she wanted to be part of the WhatsApp group. And she just felt as though she wanted to be relevant. And my take is this: what's wrong with trying to be wanted to be relevant? She wanted to be part of the group. What was wrong with that? By her requesting to be part of the WhatsApp group, it's not that she wanted to take over and be the center of conversation. It's just that she wanted to become a part of the group. She was new on the show. She wanted to be around the ladies, know what was happening, know the conversation, be a part of the conversation. What was wrong with that? When the show is not rolling, the ladies are conversating on a WhatsApp group, and she wanted to be a part of that. To exclude her, that means you guys prejudged her. I'm talking to Nanku. Prejudged her and didn't want her to be a part of the group, which means you guys already eliminated her from the group. Period. You didn't want to be a part of or even know her or know about her. The only person who seemed to have given her a fair break and a fair shake was Lankunku. So when Nanku mentioned the WhatsApp group that Mabusi Mabusi really wanted to be a member of it, Mabusi went off and she said, no. She said, wait a minute. First of all, I didn't know about a WhatsApp group. You're the one who told me about it. And I requested, yes, to be a member, but I didn't want it that badly. My life still went on. So, in spite of what you guys think and feel, it wasn't that important to me. I'm paraphrasing people, but that's what she wanted to say, and that's what I think I interpret what she said as. So Nantu cited a couple of reasons why she felt as though Mabusi wanted to be relevant, and Mabusi said, "Well, you know what? I felt as though I should say something at these events, and it's my mouth, and you're not going to tell me when I should speak, when I shouldn't speak." Pretty much that's what she said. Nantu clapped back and said, yes, you have a right to speak, but I'm speaking now. Do you mind? Man, these ladies can be nasty, okay? So Mambusi and Nanku were going back and forth with who has the right to speak, and I felt as though Mabusi was perfectly correct in trying to defend herself, because I'm sure Nanku has allegiance to some of these ladies who do not like Mabusi. So I felt as though she was perfectly correct in trying to defend herself in terms of being in the WhatsApp group, who initiated the thought in her head that she should be in the WhatsApp group. So the next clip shows Londi organized a trip for the ladies, a little outing, and the car breaks down. And Londi said it didn't go so well. It was rocky because the relationships were new. But Londi, my dear, maybe it didn't go so well because the car broke down and the room service was not adequate for the ladies. How about that, my dear? 5 of the ladies had to spend the night in the village. And it was poor planning because before you go on a trip and you book the room, you know if there is adequate rooms. How come you got there and found out? Were you going there and booking at the last moment as you arrived? You were supposed to do that way in advance. But guess who did not drive? Guess who took a private jet? Yes, my dear. It was Sorochi and friends, all the people in her little clique, because, you know, every reality show, these ladies click up. So Sorochi and her little clique, like with Annie, etc., they came by way of jet, honey, in style. So one of the ladies said they did not have the jet option. That's when the whole group who took the car realized that Sarucci and friends like Annie, they all got on her jet and flew out to the venue. And so they were pissed off. So the next day, when the group was having lunch, Nanku kept on and on about his private jet, and so eventually Jojo said, "You're acting as if you're jealous. Are you jealous?" And of course, she said she was not jealous. But then a little argument started between Jojo and Nanku. I feel if you want to flaunt your wealth, that's fine. Suruchi has money, okay? She's probably a billionaire. And if you want to flaunt your wealth, that's fine. But at least have the common courtesy to let everybody know in the group that you're going to be getting in on a jet and who is going to be with you. Because it's a small jet, not everyone can board it because of overweighing problems. So let everyone know that, listen, I'm flying in on a jet. I can't stand to drive long distance. It's too hot for me. It's too, you know, bumpy. The roads are not to my liking. Let everyone know where you're coming from. But don't just fly in on a jet. Not everyone is aware of it. The ladies, they're already ticked off from the car breaking down. So I understand why Nanku kept on and on and on about them flying in. And when I say them flying in, I mean Sorichi and company. And what was really bad, the village that Londi said the five ladies would have to stay at was hours away from the main lodging where the other ladies would be. So it was just a totally screwed up trip. So Suruchi explained that her husband is the one who wanted her to fly, and since Tabili was with her, um, her husband said, Tabili, you must also come. And so it was no excuse though for everyone not knowing that she was flying in for that particular outing with the ladies. It really was poor communication on Sorochi's part. I mean, there's nothing wrong in her using her wealth to be comfortable in whatever situation, but it was a poor communication on her part. Everyone should have been aware. Even if her husband told her, honey, I'm going to get a jet to fly you into this little spot that the girls have all cooked up for the group, but I am also going to invite along to Billy because she's here. And I think at that point you should have said, honey, listen, we cannot invite certain people on this plane and the others are driving. It's kind of unfair. Let's just rent instead of a little jet, let's get a commercial plane and just everybody book a flight to this venue. And so we could all fly out first class. I think that would have been a better plan instead of some people are driving, some people are taking a jet, and some of the people who are driving don't know that these people are jetting in, taking this jet. And so, of course, they're going to be upset and feel kind of, left out or kind of they weren't good enough to get on this jet with these other rich folks. Because people can make you feel lesser than in simple things that they do. That's why Black people have been fighting so hard for equal rights because of the little slick stuff that Afrikaners do and whites in America do. It's the subtlety of the racism that Black people are now fighting against. And I don't think Soruchi was being anywhere near racist with this, but I do think she was flaunting her wealth. So next, Donovan asked Nontu if, well, not if, but why she was so upset with. Jojo. And she said because she kept telling her to shut up and it was not her place to do so. She kept butting in and she was addressing Suruchi. She was not addressing Jojo. She kind of inserted herself in the conversation and took charge while Sorochi was just sitting there quietly looking at Nanku quietly as she was speaking, almost as if she looked guilty that she should have let them know that she was taking a jet. YouTubers, drop it in the comment section what you thought about that particular event and Saruchi taking a jet instead of going in the car with the other ladies. It's not what you do on a reality show. Everybody gets on a plane, or everybody gets in a car, or everybody gets in the boat. You know, there's no separation unless someone is late. Maybe they have an event in some other country and they have to take a plane to get to the place that the event is being kept for the ladies. But that wasn't the case here. This was just a case where Saruchi just wanted to fly in style. But why not do it with all the ladies? Instead of a little jet, get a big jumbo plane, and everybody gets on it. So Jojo said that the reason why she inserted herself was because she was trying to protect Saruchi, who was in her opinion, looked as if she was about to burst into tears. And she felt as though she had to defend her. Whatever. And as for Suruchi, she jumped in and she said that it was good of Jojo to defend her. And she felt as though at that point, she appreciated the fact that Jojo was there to defend her, as if she couldn't defend herself. I think it's a poor excuse for Jojo to lash out at Nanku because indeed she was not speaking to her. So they started to talk about the pajama party. Donovan asked the question. And Saruchi said she was upset when she heard all the nasty things that these group of women were saying about her. And Tabili was quiet because I have a feeling Tabili is the one who took that bone. Someone must have told her what was being said about her. Because let's face it, you don't just come out of the blue and figure things out that people are saying about you. Someone has to tell you specifics. So Tabali decides to tell at Donovan's prompting, of course, what these ladies were talking about at a slumber party when they were on their trip. Because he rolled a video of them discussing it. And Tabali said they were talking about why Saruchi invited Annie along was because she was scared of her. And of course, that opened a discussion. Of course, they said other nasty things. And Tabali said she didn't want to say anything because she was new to the group and she didn't want, I guess, the bickering based on what she would say. But then when they started to put it on the table, that's when she spoke on it and she voiced her opinion. So Tabali also brought up the cologne that was missing and it was found by the door. And so it's every little thing on this safari trip that they brought up in the show. Every little nook and cranny that was left unaddressed. Of course, this is a reunion, so they have to touch on everything. So when Tabali said that it was Mabusi who said that Saruchi was scared of Annie, and that's why she invited her along on the plane ride. Of course, Mabusi denied it, and they went back and forth with, yes, you said it, no, I didn't, yes, I said it, like children. So it appears as though Nanku wanted to get out of it. She wanted to talk her way out of the fact that she contributed to talking badly about Saruchi. And Tabali kept citing different instances where she did speak to her and she did say bad things about Saruchi. So as Tabali kept bringing up different instances, like remember the perfume by the door that was supposed to be stolen, and remember this, remember that. Nanku finally said, okay, yeah. And so she kind of admitted to not only talking about Saruchi, she also said everyone contributed to talking bad about Saruchi. So she didn't want to take the entire blame. So Donovan asked Saruchi how did she feel now that she knows how people were talking about her that night of the getaway. And she said, you know what? It's water under the bridge. If that's how they feel, I understand it was a long night and they chose not to tell me to my face how they felt. And if they chose not to tell me, then must not be that important. So I'm going to leave it alone. And you would think that would be it. But here again, another one of Saruchi's friends jumped right in, Miss Annie. And she said, you're making excuses for people talking shit about you. And, Annie was more upset than Saruchi, who it happened to. You would think that people were talking bad about Annie that night. It was Saruchi they were talking bad about. So why would Annie be so upset? I told you guys she's very protective of Saruchi. But Annie is young and have a lot to learn. Not every battle you fight. Some things you just have to leave alone because it's not important. YouTubers, this was a good example of admitting when you're wrong. It took a strong woman and a real woman to admit that she was wrong. And that's what Mabusi did. She said to Saruchi, she said, I'm wrong. All three of us, because we were there before you, after you came and, we found out that you came in a jet. I'm paraphrasing, but this is what she pretty much said. When we found out you flew out in a jet, we were upset. We talked bad about you tonight, that everybody was there. And I apologize because you've been nothing but kind to me and you don't deserve it. So I apologize. Now that's what a real woman does, That's what a real woman will do. She will admit when she is wrong. And I have some respect now for Mabusi. I can see where she is, upstanding in terms of being a woman. Like I like Saruchi. Although she tends to flaunt her wealth, I still like her. So to bury their differences, Saruchi as well as Mabusi hugged it out. And I'm surprised that Annie didn't jump up and say, why are you hugging and why are you kissing? Longkonku apologized as well. So Donovan said, okay, moving right along. So the next clip shows the ladies with this truth game. You ask the question and the ladies are supposed to tell you the truth. So the question was asked to Tibele first. Since she's been married to her husband, has he cheated on her? And in the confessional, she said she was so angry that he asked that question because it was so personal. But again, this is a reality TV show. This is what you signed up for. If you do not want personal questions to be asked of you, don't answer it or don't come on the show. But since you're on the show, you don't have to answer every question. Why do ladies feel they have to answer everything that people ask them? You don't have to answer. There's no written rule that you have to answer. It's just like the follow-up question to Annie if she was sure that her husband has never cheated on her, she didn't have to answer that either, because these questions are so personal. Well, if you answer the question the wrong way and your husband get a whim of how you answer that question, it might not be to his liking. What if she said, yes, I know definitely he cheated on me, and he heard that on the internet? It has a lot of ramifications. And so certain questions they should never answer. People have to realize they have a life off of the internet. When the show is done and it's long forgotten, these people still have to live their lives with their spouses. And so they have to be careful how they answer these questions, not to ruin their marriage. Donovan asked Annie, who does she think asked that question? If she's confident that her husband has never cheated. And she said, well, it could be several people. And for one, it might be Noku, because she said all men cheat. But she doesn't know for sure who it is. And of course, he posed the question to Tibble if she is sure that her husband, or if her husband has cheated since they got married. And she said at first she thought it was Mabusi, but now that she's gotten to know her, she doesn't really know who it is, but she don't think it was her. But in fact, she does not know who would ask such a personal question. So Donovan decided to play another clip with Nonku telling the ladies that her ex-husband wants to get back together with her and confessed his love to her. She went on to say that her husband did try to get back together with her, but she would not have it. So if it was up to her, he would be back in her life, in her home, in her bed. And some of the ladies, I saw one person pulled out their cell phone and started to look at it. And another person had their head down with their hand over their forehead. So that tells me they do not believe her. So after rolling that clip of her making that statement, Donovan then said to her, when did Cecil, your husband, your ex-husband, when did he say that he wanted to get back to you and you are the love of his life and he really wants you instead? So Nonku replied. She said she's not going to answer the question. That chapter is closed. She has nothing to say on that subject. And so Donovan had no choice than to go on to the next question. But it just goes to show you, some people want to ask all this personal information about others, but they themselves don't even want to answer personal questions when people ask them. Case in point, Nonku. So this episode ended with Nonku saying that, in all fairness, that this woman was part of her ex-husband's life, and it was just her name was bound to come up. YouTubers, that was my recap for Real Housewives of Durban. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel and to this video. Thank you.